I'm going to get cracking in a second because we've got a fair few changes to get through. Right, I've started the timer, so I'm going to get cracking. Hey, Copilot, what's new? And there's a fair few things that are new. So we're going to just kind of run over a few of them for you. But just a quick 101, if you don't know who Ultima are, you will, well, most of you probably know us already, but we are a service-led, expert-driven managed service provider. We're a provider of agnostic and focus on working with our customers in partnership to deliver business-focused outcomes. This one is probably a little bit different because we're focusing on Microsoft and Copilot as a speciality today. But other than that, our technology areas cover what you see on the screen, and we are proud to be able to deliver multiple technology solutions to our customers, being the partner of choice for many. So reaching out into things such as security, elements that you might use, or data discovery that you might use in order to get Microsoft Copilot off the ground for you. Another quick update, obviously very recently, it was announced that we've merged with Trustmark, so kind of expanding our reach and our skills, basically. And yeah, so I quickly wanted to point you out to a webinar tomorrow for any of our customers that want to understand a little bit more about what that means to you guys. That's tomorrow afternoon, and that's available to you. But let's crack on with the agenda for today. So loads of changes with Copilot, which is why we've decided that we need an update meeting such as this, because there are so many features that are being rolled out. And we thought a good idea to curate some of the good ones and some of the ones that are going to deliver return on investment for you, and enable you to kind of focus on your rollout of Copilot. So, bit of a welcome. I'm Chris Freeman. I look after Copilot on the main it's Ultima, but service all of the modern workspace areas of technology. We're going to be covering some of the updates today around extensibility and custom agents and how to build them. Some core app enhancements that, I'm not just saying it, are actually quite powerful and a bit game changery, but something that probably could go under the radar if you aren't aware of it. We've also got some updates to analytics and adoption insights. So yeah, you can get in and more control over that element. If you're concerned still, and you should be, about the security and compliance controls, then we've got a couple of updates around that that's coming out. And the user experience upgrades, which I've been using recently and trying to get my head around, that again are pretty powerful, and if used right, can change things. And then at the end of that, some new agents. First, we're going to kind of do a little bit of a tester to understand where you're at the moment. So if you're able to, just kind of choose where you're at with Copilot at the moment. It's kind of gives us an insight into where people's journeys have been and where they're at. All of these updates I'm going to give you should help you wherever you're at. But yeah, it would be a good understanding of where we are. And yeah, there we go. If you pick one, we've got a few coming back in there now. Let's move on. So let's pause a second, because I just went off at 100 miles an hour there. Why do these Copilot updates that we're going to go over actually matter for us and for you? Is adoption rising within your business? For some it is, for some it isn't. Is real return on investment being found out? Well, the majority that I'm speaking to, probably not so much. But that return on investment it's clear, only comes when we use Copilot smartly, when we use it with the right people, when we use it on the right tasks and we know how to use it on that task and with the right data. So don't just roll out willy-nilly all updates, especially at the moment, because it'll just exhaust everybody, and roll out every feature, especially if we don't communicate what those features are. Focus on what genuinely benefits your team or your business. And that means we need to understand them, and we need to understand all of the updates at pace, which is again why we're doing something like this, just to give you a bit of an insight of what I see as powerful. As I said earlier as well, if we overwhelm users, they'll just default. It's user behavior. They'll default back to old habits. They'll put Copilot in the top drawer. And if you're my age, you'll probably go back to using pens and paper. Or quills or something like that. But we're going to go back to default to what we use and what gets the job done, because we're accountable. Copilot isn't accountable. So these updates also directly tackle the blockers that we have held, that have held organizations back in the past. So security concerns that we might have had, integration with systems that we want that weren't available. We weren't able to kind of measure impact, and that's a big thing when you need to kind of get investment through the financial director. We need those examples. So for organizations such as ours, these changes make Copilot more practical and easier to adopt. Every update links to productivity gains and cost optimization for you, helping us to get more out of the investment that we've made. But also remember, Copilot Chat has just got huge in its capability. Now we should be taking everybody on the journey, not just those with Microsoft Copilot for 365 or whatever the actual real name for that is now. So these aren't just new features, they're enablers for scale and measurable impact. And we shall move on. So let's move on to some of the context to outcomes. Let's shift to that. How do these updates actually deliver measurable return on investment? Well, as mentioned earlier, it only comes from using the newest capabilities in the right way. So we need to know about them. Teams often miss out by sticking to the baseline features that they were told about when the tool was rolled out. And when Copilot was first rolled out, there weren't the features that are available now. And if they have the don't know and they don't know what's new, and they just won't have the desire really to embrace that, you need to take it to the people that are using them. So here's what's tangible. And this is what, here's what's tangible value looks like day to day. Faster drafting and iteration, documents, emails, and plans. We all know about that, so much quicker. Fewer and shorter meetings. So can we actually reduce the amount of time we're on meetings? Can we just follow meetings? Can we take notes? Can those notes be picked up? Can we have Copilot in those meetings answering questions with us so we don't have to go off and get the answer and bring that back to another meeting? Clearer decisions, because again, we can use Copilot to rationale what we've been doing and to give us another perspective or critically think for us as part of meetings. We can start to bring that into them. So not only time savings, but efficiency. And it's now becoming more available with the tool that you're using. So your desktop, your mobile app, your phone, all sorts of things like that, it becomes available to you. These benefits aren't just theoretical either anymore. They're practical for organizations. Governance, compliance, and everyday practicality are built in, making it easy to deploy and manage at scale, which we'll go over with some of the updates. The result of all of this is more output per person, which is what we were promised at the beginning. Quicker payback on investment, making a happier workforce, give us more time, but in fact, it's given me more time to do research, so I don't feel like I've got any more time, but it allows you to do the important stuff a lot quicker. So went through the measurables, didn't I? So make sure you target and get those statistics down from the beginning. Time to first draft, what does it look like now? How much time on a meeting, what does that look like now? So then we can start to use the analytics, especially the ones that are coming out, to bring back and measure and prove that we're seeing efficiencies. Let's move on to the actual updates that are there. Really good head of hair that guy's got. I really wished I still had hair. So let's talk about Copilot Studio a little, and why it's becoming a bigger game changer, and why Microsoft see it as the portal for business users to use low code and start to build upon all of the features that are available using Copilot as well. As mentioned, it's not brand new. It evolved out of something called Power Virtual Agents, and also Copilot Studio has been out since Copilot's been out. But it has changed in the scale and the impact that it can now deliver, and the systems that it can now connect to. It's moved from the ability to build bots or agents that can talk with data and do a couple of or a few connections into Power Automate. It's evolved now to a platform for enterprise-wide automation. So it now can connect to over 1,400 business systems, including your CRMs, your ERPs, SharePoint, and something called MCP servers, which is I forget the first thing for that, but it's context protocol. So basically that allows you to talk more efficiently to data sources and get actions off the back of that. So it's no longer about small skills, it's about connecting your entire business. So when we talk about the maturity of a business when it comes to generative AI, we're talking about going from things that enable me as a user to things that enable my team to be better, to things that enable a business to start to be better. And that's when we start to see big impact. One big update to these things as well, and what's available within Copilot Studio and also other areas of new agents, is the fact that it has now been set that Copilot for Sales and Copilot for Service are now things that are part of your Microsoft 365 SKU. So once upon a time, they were bolt-on licenses that you purchased, but now that's starting to become part of your Microsoft 365 SKU. So if you think about that value that you're now getting from that £25 per user per month, those features that were available within your CRM or your ERP system now becomes available as part of that £25 per month. Few things you need to turn on technically, but basically you no longer need extra licensing to unlock those advanced and service automations. It's built in for you. Next update, smarter everyday work across Teams, Outlook, Excel, and PowerPoint. So these are the areas that really impact our users and what this whole thing is designed for, basically. They make Copilot more useful in the flow of the work that you do. They tackle the everyday pain points that you might have and that might slow you down. For example, too many meetings, too much email, time-consuming content creation. So let's kind of break it down. One of the big changes that you might have seen is this ability for audio recaps. So Copilot now delivers audio recaps alongside intelligent meeting summaries that comes out the back of your Teams meetings. If you miss a meeting, you don't just get the transcript, you receive a structured summary with decisions, action items, and who said what, plus an audio version in styles like an executive, newscast, or casual. So it's kind of like the podcast element that you get in something called Notebook LM, the Google side, but also that you get that people often aren't seeing, and this is value. If you go into notebooks in your Microsoft 365 app, you get the ability to create podcasts in there. So now we're definitely starting to be able to speak and listen to Copilot and basically react with each other in that way, rather than just tapping away on the keyboard and having it respond in text. Again, that also opens up accessibility to users as well that use technology that way. There's also now coming out Copilot in Teams mode, which enables collaborative AI sessions in group chats and meetings. So you can add Copilot to an existing team conversation or start a new group chat where everyone shares the same context. So this unlocks real-time summarization, shared action items, and brainstorming powered by Copilot, ideal for project teams and decision makers. So if you think about some of the bots that you might have had join Teams meetings, you are now able to invite Copilot onto those meetings and talk to it. So for example, could you get some more information on what we've just discussed? And Copilot will go bring you that back. Moving into Excel, we've got an update that goes beyond formulas. So you can now ask questions in plain English, and it's just building out on that whole Python integration with Excel for complex analysis. But now you can discuss it with Copilot, and that's kind of helpful for me because I always get stuck on typing. PowerPoint, so yeah, they've improved that slightly around some auto-generated abilities and condensing decks. It's still a difficult one for me, but it's definitely getting better in relation to the things that you can pull in and design. I think the best thing I still get out of PowerPoint and Copilot is the ability to write my presenter notes and to kind of put it into a format that I can see. So return of investment from all of that: faster drafting, fewer meetings, more focused time. Next update, analytics and ROI. We have never, well, for ages, it's been really difficult talking to customers when they're asking, so what value are we seeing? Because it's such a new technology, and also because the admin console can be quite difficult and it's a lot more technically aligned. It's difficult to see where those reports are. So are we finding it difficult, those conversations with the CFO and IT director, in actually saying, yes, this department are definitely seeing time savings because I've got a dashboard here that's going to give it. We can see users using it over here. We can see what apps they're using it in. So then we can target training and things such as that. So it gives us the ability there to pinpoint our training. Again, tailor this to the departments that you've got. If you go too wide, you'll just miss everybody, and then you won't get that adoption of users. Impact. So keep rate, how often Copilot output is retained, actions per user per week. It's giving you all of that information. And it gives you it so you're able to export the data into Power BI or Excel to calculate the ROI. For example, if each Copilot action saves 5 minutes, multiplied by 1,000 of actions across your organization, here's the output. Microsoft Viva is also coming into its own on that, because integrating that adds that qualitative feedback. So you can run quick surveys to go alongside. So you've got the quantitative and the qualitative data there. So it's all there to support your justification for budget, basically, but also it should be used there to focus your training in order to get people using the technology that you've paid for and given to them. Right, so all of those that are now very fearful because all of these things that are available, what is changing in security? And you can kind of block your ears if you're not security mad, but so Copilot has always operated. We can have some security there with Microsoft 365 Trust Boundary, respecting existing permissions and security controls. But with these latest updates, Microsoft is taking enterprise-grade compliance even further by embedding focused Copilot and generative AI settings and embedding it into Purview and advanced governance features directly into the Copilot workflows. And there's some considerations here as agents become more widely used across the organization, especially those used in Copilot Studio. So at a very basic level, you've always been able to and will be able to build sensitivity labels. And it's something that you should do into your documents so that basically it's governed. Copilot is governed by that area of control, and you're able to see what's sensitive. You're able to use Purview to understand what's sensitive and what risk you're at. But some of the newer ones and policies that they're bringing out include one called Copilot blocked label. So if there's a specific project that you're working on and you know from the start you don't want Copilot looking at this, then there is a new governance capability and label that allows you to apply that to those designated files. So it doesn't matter what, it won't be pulled through Copilot. Audit and governance capabilities. So every Copilot interaction now, prompt, accessed files, generated output can now be logged, and as it is logged in Purview for you to be able to see and add compliance and context-aware access rules to that. So all of that is available in that admin portal. And compliance teams will be able to get full visibility for monitoring, investigating, and regulatory reporting. So yeah, what's being used in those prompts and what data is being pushed into those prompts. Admin controls. So IT can now disable Copilot in specific SharePoint sites or teams. That's always been the case. And it isn't actually one that is taken up because it does turn off search for everybody. And there is a new agent that we'll chat about later that will give you more control over that. But basically, Purview stretches into governing. Let's stop, pause, sorry. Purview also enables you to start to control the way agents within Copilot Studio are created. And it's an important one, this, because Copilot agents are built, especially the Copilot Studio ones, in the Power Platform. And that relies on us having a good Power Platform setup that has agents, ready environments. And that's environments that are going from dev into production. And you can use Purview and some of the governance rules in there to guide people through who they can share the agents with, how it's being tested, which environment they can create it in, and which channels that they can start to make it available on. So it's another thing to think about, especially with those bigger built agents, is starting to look at Purview in assisting us understand the development mentality around building an agent and rolling it out into production, especially if a company's going to use it. So boring bit, but really important bit and a really helpful bit in the fact that we can use these tools to guide us. And some user experience updates that are quite meaningful, and ones that I've been trying to get hold of that are definitely becoming a bit more meaningful, but a bit bumpy at the moment. But basically, these are fairly big deals, especially for people. It makes Copilot truly accessible, personal, and practical for every user. So wherever and however you work. So what does that mean? You can now interact with Copilot using your voice during meetings or on Copilot enabled devices and in Copilot chat. So yep, you've always been able to dictate, but now you're able to have a conversation with, a bit like some of those other tools, all hands-free. Caveat, you get a certain amount of time at the moment, a day, like 15 minutes a day to have those conversations. You're also able to talk to Copilot in meetings and in hybrid workspaces. Copilot is also now available in Outlook and Teams mobile apps. So it's basically meeting you and the professionals where you're at. So if you're on the walk, if you're traveling, then it's all available within Outlook and the Teams mobile app. Just check my time. Now there's also local awareness too. So yeah, that's probably one of my major pet peeves, is that it was always in American format. It's being rolled out that you're going to be able to use it in UK format going forward. Some agents that are coming out. It's going to let me go through. And I've given you links to all of them there. So there's the knowledge agent, which is this one here. It's going to grow in what that's going to give you access to, but it's basically been designed to, and it's in preview at the moment, so you need to kind of just test it, but it's going to enable us to clean up our SharePoint libraries and make them a lot more AI friendly. So it will apply labels for you, apply descriptions. It can bring out the author from the document and update the author in the metadata, to start to do all of these things for you and autonomously eventually. So you can start to clean up and make more secure. your SharePoint sites ready for Copilot to talk to. So some of the worry has always been about data in SharePoint. This is going to enable you to feel a little bit safer and use more refined content by using Copilot to assist you in building that. Another new one for all of those ones that are using other AI tools, the ability to build an application. This is App Maker. So it's a lightweight app maker, basically, that uses Power Platform Lite. And it allows you to ask what kind of app you want, point at a document or a design or a spreadsheet or whatever. It can go off and create SharePoint lists, all sorts of things, and build you that basic app for you. Good one, I'll be trying that. Another one, workflow. So I've had a quick look at this. It is very light. So this is using Flow Lite. So you can speak to it again, and it will come up and create that automation flow, as long as you've got access to the areas that you need access to. But again, you can see what's happening. They're bringing all of that low code, no code to business users. But again, highlight that you need to introduce these to the right people. Otherwise, you'll have half of your organization going down rabbit holes trying to work these things out. But genuinely, these can be game changer. Quick recap. I think I've managed to hit time. So 5 major updates there that are all there to help you drive measurable productivity and efficiency gains. Some enhanced controls mean Copilot is safer for organizations, and you can trust the data that it's going to give you by using Knowledge Agent. Analytics and dashboards prove value and support your business case. Personalization and mobile access boost that daily adoption and satisfaction of using the tool. And some of those ready to use, no hype, just practical business outcomes of how it's going to behave in the apps that everybody's using at the moment. Final one, it's good news that, merging with Trustmark has given us the ability to start to use some design tools that are available, especially around Copilot. So I definitely have just spoken and bigged up Microsoft Analytics, and they've definitely got better. But I think as a business user and using these tools a long time, it has been obvious that some of the more appropriately designed solutions are better at translating that data into things that we can see and visible outcomes. And that's what Prism does. So it's pulling on all the same data from Copilot. It now allows you to see who's using it, or allows you to create those baselines so you can roll out and measure. And it gives you valuable insights without you having to build anything. So it's going to give you those baselines without you having to go into Power BI and build all of those things up, because it's there, out of the can, ready, proven, so that you're able to demonstrate some of the KPIs that you're going to be hitting, or maybe not. It's going to give you that decent insight into that. So I thoroughly recommend using these tools, especially before you go about rolling them out. So I think we have another poll there, actually, which is just whether you're interested in anything. I'm available to always chat with customers about Copilot, what's coming up. This wasn't exhaustive of all the changes. There are 1,000 changes a year rolling out just for Copilot. So I think if there's any takeaway from this, is that you build into your planning an understanding of the updates and making sure that's communicated clearly to your organization. Otherwise, as an organization I was speaking to yesterday, they didn't have a clue that you had notebooks, and that in notebooks you could have podcasts, or that within Creator you can now create infographics from prompts. And the fact that Copilot Chat free version now sits in all of your apps and uses your context window. So really, we should be taking the whole organization on a generative AI journey and including everyone. But that's me. I hope that was helpful. If you've got any ideas of what you'd like me to go over and focus on next, happy to. Just drop us a line or fill in this. Oh yeah, forgot about that one, didn't I, Anne? So this was a poll that was just asking you all to tell us where you're getting blocked at the moment, where you're struggling, and then hopefully we can help you out on that. But back to work. Hopefully that was quick and painless. Thanks, everyone.